Okay guys, today I'm going to show you how to start adding watercolor to your painting. And we're going to begin with just some practice. So we have a formative practice set up. It's on watercolor paper. We have in front of us here a watercolor set. I have a brush, a watercolor brush. I have a cup of water. My cup is filled halfway with water, and then I have a paper towel. So I am ready to go. So the first thing you need to do with watercolor paint is get your paint wet. So I'm going to use red first. So I'm putting a little bit of water into my red here. I'm going to grab a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to paint the solid color from palette first. So I'm going to take some of this red paint and I'm actually going to bring it up into my lid, and I'm going to explain why I'm doing that in just a second here. Okay, so I have red up in my lid. I'm going to add a little bit more water to that. Okay, now here I have the paint that I'm going to use to paint in my space here. And I already started this, but I'm going to finish it now for you guys. So here's my tip for you. I like to paint by placing my brush down and then dragging it. So I go around, going around my edges first so that I am careful, and now I'm going to spread that through. Now when I need more, if I need more of this color, I can get more from the lid. I don't want to take it directly from the paint set. What happens when I take it directly from the paint set is it might be darker or lighter depending on how much water is already on my brush. And I'm going to show you what I mean after I fill this in. Okay, so this is now painted solid red. Now if I were just to dip my brush into red like this and start painting with it, let me grab my scrap of paper here. If I just started painting with this, look, it's actually, this now looks darker. Let me grab a little bit more red from here. So that looks a lot darker because I hadn't already added water to it. To control your color more, just put it in your lid first, and then you can control how much water goes into it, and you don't have to keep guessing. This will help you match better when you're doing your radial symmetry. Okay, next I'm going to mix two analogous colors together and create a fade. So analogous colors are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, and our paint set is set up so that we can see what colors are next to each other right here because they're next to each other on the paint palette. So I'm going to do green next to blue. So first I'm going to take my brush, I'm cleaning it off so that I don't have any red on it. I'm going to place a little bit of water in my green. I'm going to do that again. Okay, rinse, water in my blue, and once more. Okay, now I'm going to grab a little bit of my green paint, place it out here, and I'm going to rinse, grab a little bit of my blue paint, place it out here. Okay, and now I'm going to start painting. So I'm going to take the blue, I'm going to paint half of this with my blue. When you're using watercolor paint, you don't want the color to be extremely dark. Really using it directly from the paint set is not a good idea because it's going to be kind of sticky. Watercolor paint is supposed to have plenty of water in it. Okay, so my brush is now clean. I just rinsed it. I'm grabbing some green. I'm going to put the green over here, and then we're going to watch them blend in the middle. When you place two colors next to each other with watercolor paint, they are going to merge together and blend. This usually will happen naturally. Looks like ours is just kind of drying quick on us. I can go back and help it along a little bit like that. Okay, now we can see it fading from blue to green. All right, now let's do a fade from dark to light. So this is a value fade. So again, using any color from my paint set, I can do this fade. I think I'm just going to use, how about purple? So put a little bit of water in my purple, move my brush around. I'm not smashing my brush down, notice I'm not putting it straight down, I'm kind of moving it around on its side. Okay, I'm going to place a little bit of that color up here in the lid. Rinse my brush, place a little bit more down. Okay, now when I'm doing a fade from dark to light, I want this to be a darker purple on one side. So I'm going to have this side be my dark side. And notice how I did dip it in right there just to get a little bit started. Okay, now I'm gonna rinse my brush. I'm gonna grab some from over here now. You can see that's already a little bit lighter because I've added more water to it. Rinse my brush again, and now I'm just gonna use straight water on this side. Okay, and you can see how it's fading from dark to light. If I wanna make it a little bit darker on my darker side, I can just grab a little straight from the palette. The purple's so dark in the palette, it almost looks black. There we go. Okay, dark to light. Just get a little bit of that cleaned up there. And here's a great tip. If you ever get too much color on and you want to get it lighter, use your paper towel. Just kind of blot a little bit up. If there's too much water or just too much paint, there we go. Okay, last one, mixed color. This is my favorite. So I want you guys to mix colors for your mandala because it would be awfully boring if we're only using the colors here in the paint set. So you do all of your color mixing over here in the lid. This is the color mixing area. You can see there's these plastic parts that separate these different areas. That is so that you can mix color inside of them and not have them, you know, bleed into the other ones. So I'm gonna mix purple and red together and make a red violet. I'm gonna dip my brush in, grab some red, and I'm gonna pull that red over here into the purple that I have created. This is a really pretty maroon color, looks like. Okay, if I'm happy with that, I could just use that right straight away from here, and I am, so I'm gonna start painting with it. So again, I'm tracing some of my edges first, and then I'm pulling the color in. And I'm taking this from my lid here. Never mix the paint in the paint set, like in the colors. You don't want to make all of the red violet. You don't want to make your yellow looking dirty. You want to keep your paint set clean. And don't worry, I'll teach you how you can clean up your lid too. Okay, so now this is done and I have a nice mixed color. All right, in your mandala, you are going to need to use at least one fade in your mandala. And by using it, that means you have to repeat it since we're doing radial symmetry, which means then you would have at least, at minimum, 4 times, or in 4 spots, you would use a fade. So this could be an analogous color fade or dark to light. That's your choice, okay? So again, you're using one of these at minimum, at least 4 times in your mandala. Another thing that you have to do is you have to mix some of your own colors. So I want to see lots and lots and lots of color mixing in your mandala. I'm not even going to give you a number because I want you to do it often. So, you know, let's say like 3 times or more, you know, you should be mixing up colors. So your own colors, using them 3 times or more in your project. So here's something fun you can do when you're practicing. Let's say you're done with this and you know you're still feeling uncertain. Take your Sharpie, make a couple small circles or squares, any shapes you want. Take a small brush, a size 0 brush, and I want you just to practice painting inside of these small spaces, grabbing any color you wish. I'm gonna grab some of this maroon here. And just practice controlling your paintbrush. Sometimes I think the hardest part for people when they're painting is that they're getting too much paint on their brush. So don't be afraid when you get paint on your brush to wipe a little bit off, either on the edge of your paint set or on the edge of your water cup, so that you don't have a ton of paint and water on your brush. You never want to see a big puddle. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this red here. Again, once you get some on your brush, take some off. Okay, see how I'm doing that? All right, lastly, I want to show you what happens if you make a big mistake, because chances are on your mandala, sometime you're going to make a mistake. So when that happens, let's say you've got your green, okay, and accidentally you drop your paintbrush and it gets someplace that you didn't want it, quickly take your brush, grab some clean water on your brush, put that on the area that you made your mistake. Take your paper towel and blot that area up. Just let it absorb and look. It's like magic. It really can come off. Now, some colors don't come off as easily as that, and I caught that fast, but you know, in general, you can try to fix mistakes, okay? Now, something tells me you won't all be able to start painting your mandala today, because some people are going to need some more time inking or doing their watercolor practice. But if you do begin, there's something major that you need to know, and that is, do not paint areas, different colors right next to each other, because guess what happens? This, colors mixing. That's great when you want that to happen, but it's not so great when you don't. So, I'm going to paint a tiny bit of my mandala for you, and I want you to see how I'm skipping around. All right, guys, let's talk about cleaning up. So when it's time to clean up, you're going to have to take your brush, you're going to get it wet, and you're just going to run it over the areas in your paint lid that you painted. Don't smash your brush down when you do this. Try to be gentle, but you're just wetting it down because some of the paint probably dried. Then you take your paper towel and you're going to absorb that up. It is not a good idea to just put this underwater. I don't want you to take it to the sink and try to just run water over top of it. That can be terrible for your paint set. Also, I know it's not a good idea for everyone to take the lids off. This is the easiest thing to do, and you can do it right at your seat. Again, you're just using your brush, getting your palette wet, and you're using your paper towel and just wiping it clean. So easy. Okay? If you have any paint on your table, as I actually do here, a little bit of water on your paintbrush, it loosens it, and just wipe it up. No big deal. Okay? Now, I need to tell you, anytime your paint water starts looking like Kool-Aid, when it is getting like grape flavored Kool-Aid or strawberry, I mean, if you can name that flavor, it's probably dirty water and it needs to be cleaned. So you gotta take it at that point to the sink and refresh it. Okay, you dump out the water and you put in new. Lastly, I'm noticing I've got some color up here. Just rinse that off for the next person that uses it. Okay, and when we're letting our paint sets dry out at the end of class, we do need to leave them open like this. We want to let them actually dry out, so I'll show you where to put them, but you do leave them open. No need to close it. All right, thanks guys. I can't wait to see how you work today.